Good day and welcome back to the podcast, Catch It, A New Perception. My name is Ketuk. Happy Mother's Day. Welcome to where you are in the world. Thinking about how we continue to move forward and how our trajectory continues to move upward. How we are able to get to know our higher selves is a process. It's not an event. It's not like all of a sudden I did something one day and all of a sudden I now know my higher self. It's a process I'm still going through to get to know my higher self. And I say this because I think it's important that people realize that it wasn't a single event that changed anything in my life. The way that I think, the way that I feel, my perception in the world, none of this changed because of a particular event that happened. This episode of Catch It, A New Perception. My name, Ketuk. All of this has grown into what it is. Will it continue to change? Chances are things will continue to change. And there are certain threads in this podcast that have been the same since the beginning. And a couple of things that have impacted those. The fact that it stayed the same, the fact that it's different because of video, because of the length of it, because I name them. I name each episode. The length of the episode is shortened to 15 minutes rather than 30 minutes. All of these things are because of the people whose lives I have touched. And vice versa. Therefore, they have touched my life. What is a bigger impact in your life? The way that you touch other people's lives, does that affect you as much or more than people who touch your life? Did someone do a drive-by one time, say one thing to you, and your life has been different ever since? Is there people who touch your life every day that allow you to be able to think and feel the way that you do? Has that impacted you so much that someone touched your life at one point, maybe on a daily basis, maybe for a period of time, and they're no longer there and they're still touching your life because you still continue to do the things that you learned when they first touched you? Spiritually, they touched your soul. They impacted your mind. They got you to begin to think different, to see the world different, to see yourself different. I think that all of these things are worth paying attention to. What is it? What is the action that you can take today that will allow you to see the world different, that will allow you to see everyone different? I hear a comment, I see a comment, someone says something to me about the podcast. I get it. In many ways in my life, I've been undereducated. I get it. There's been certain significant things in my life where I have been educated differently than other people. And I talk about being technically challenged. And there's many things, obviously, many things in this world I don't know. There's many things about setting up this podcast I don't know. I'm unaware that the volume may not have been as good on the last episode or maybe even the last two episodes. And I had an episode ready to go out today and possibly it was the same thing. That episode may be redone and the topic of the joy of dignity may come out in the future. That's one that I was going to do today. The joy of dignity. Most of the topics that I come up with are because I have touched someone's life who has touched my life, or someone has touched my life, and in return, maybe I've touched theirs. I say that because sometimes it's like I referred to as a drive-by, something that just happens in a moment. I think back to certain people decades ago when I was much younger. The 1980s were a decade that impacted my life for a long time. The 1990s impacted my life for a long time. There are people I met in the 1980s that I was just talking about that impacted my life. Now, what was said to me and the way that I say what was said to me are two different things. He wrote it in a book. He inscribed a book he handed me that helped impact my life. And the inscription read a little differently than I say it today. And sometimes it's a lot different. It was that spark that someone else did when they reached out to touch my life that allows me to see it different today. And that's a really huge point, is that I need to be able to continue to see things different. And there's that time where I need to continue to see things the same. I don't want to lose the perspective I have on gratitude. I don't want to lose the perspective I have on the sunshine and how it affects my life and how I see it affecting your life and how the glow of the sunshine glistens off your face when you smile and talk to me. I don't want to lose that perspective. I want to see all of that in life. What I want to be able to do is leave behind the derogatory thoughts that I've had about myself, the derogatory thoughts that I've had about you. Now, sometimes the way I learn to leave derogatory thoughts about myself behind is when I think more highly of you. And throughout this short journey that I've had in this lifetime, I realize that sometimes it's in reverse. Sometimes I lose the derogatory thoughts about me first, and sometimes I lose the derogatory thoughts about you first. And then it works in reverse. And I love that. I love the fact that you can touch my life in such a way that I will never be the same again. I love the fact that I could touch someone else's life and I will never be the same again. How it affects me. You know, I recently was talking with a brother and he says, you know, I watched someone that I respect very much reach a milestone in his life. And he said something to the effect of, what's really important are the things that you do when no one is watching. And I said, that's really cool. I get that. So there's not ego involved, and so that we can do what we do in a good way. And I think those things are important. I think it's important to continue to do those types of things. Also, I think that there's something that's very important. That we do things in front of people, not to get recognition, not for them to see it. When we continue to do these good acts, and I think back to decades ago, very early 1990s, 30 plus years ago, when a man saw me have to walk back into the store to give a woman the correct change because she had given me change for a 20 and I had given her a $5 bill. And I just remember this in more recent years because I heard this man telling the story to someone else. How did it affect his life? Decades later, he has never forgotten that. I didn't do it to impact his life. I didn't even do it for the reason I would today, to impact her life in a positive way and make sure that that person doesn't lose their job over a couple of dollars that I thought I wanted that weren't mine. At the time, I did it for my own benefit because I believed it was the right thing to do, to keep me on the trajectory that I wanted to move up to get to know my higher self, when I felt like I did not yet know my higher self. And I explained that to him, that this is the path I want to be on. That's why I do it. The impact it had on him was unbelievable. I had no idea. It was 25 years later before I heard him tell that story. I had basically forgotten it because it was just part of my journey. Now, what I'm finding out is that it becomes really huge when I can impact someone else's life and I'm not attempting to. I'm only doing what I need to do at that moment to be comfortable in my own skin, to make things right. Maybe to do something good for someone else. Just do what I do. And there are other people watching closely our movements, our interactions. I see it where I work. I see people mimic me. What I realize is that I need to be able to show up in a good way. When I work in the entertainment business the way that I do, I need to prove that to people that I am truly in the entertainment business. And this is the best I can do today. And then when they mimic the things that I do, and I do something maybe different than other people, and other people then begin to do what I do, and what they're doing is they're allowing the people that we're there to entertain have the best experience possible because they have an interaction with somebody that they can feel. What happens when we impact somebody's life so they feel different? I get it. What we're going to do first is allow them to think different. And it's their thinking that will dictate how they feel, not my actions, not my thinking. None of that will dictate how someone else feels. When I take a certain action and someone mimics that action, and then in front of other people, they mimic that action, and they allow these people to feel different, now we're beginning to change the world. I don't do it for that reason, because for that reason, there would be egotism behind it. Like, oh, look at me. I'm sharing my experience. If it wasn't about the fact that I believe that you can change the world, that you can impact other people, I wouldn't share these parts of me. I don't do it because I think, oh, look at me, look at how great I am. I don't want to think or feel that way. What I want is to allow you to have an experience with people by touching other people's lives that will impact the next 7 generations. Do you ever think of the next 7 generations that will come after you? Not just in your own bloodline, in the world. Go back 7 generations and count how many grandparents you would have through the last 7 generations and realize how many people you could affect moving forward in the next 7 generations. Realize that you could impact someone by impacting one person. You could impact all the people that ever touch their lives, anyone that they touch emotionally, verbally. You could impact generations to come. This is what I'm talking about. Whose life are you going to touch? Who's going to touch your life today? Who wants it more than you do? Who wants gratitude more? I say that because what if you prove to someone that you're as grateful as any human being on the earth today? And they're like, I want that feeling. I want the feeling that is portrayed, the energy that comes out of that person when they appear to be so grateful for so many things. I think that we can impact others by the things that we do, the things that we say, and the way that we walk. We may not realize that others are watching. We don't do it for their entertainment. We don't do it for their value. We do it for our own value. No entertainment. We do it because we want to. Today, I walk the way I do because I believe that dignity, love, respect, and honor matter. I do it because I believe in the last 7 generations that came before me, and they matter. They've impacted my life. And I've given you examples of some who have touched my life. I cannot give you examples of the people that I have touched. I don't know who they are. Possibly some in this podcast. Possibly some of them in the network where I work in doing the things that I do. whether that's seminars, workshops, speaking engagements of any kind. I hope that I can touch someone's life once again. Looking forward to next time. Live in harmony with and use the bounty of the land to bring kindness to the world. Dok Shao, okay?